Hey, how's it going? Hope you're having a happy new year, and welcome to the first episode of a little series I'm calling GGs, or Good Games. My name is Joseph, and this is my attempt to put some of my favorite games on a pedestal, and hopefully there's something here that you want to play. If you're looking for game recommendations on YouTube, it can get pretty bland and tiring if every video just sounds like number 1, Baldur's Gate 3, number 2.
Hearts of the Kingdom.
Like, chances are, if you're somewhat into gaming, you've probably heard of or even played some of the biggest titles of the last year or two, and you're looking for something different. I just want to tell you about some of the newer games that I've been playing, some indies I think are worth checking out, and maybe some older games that I think are just worth going back to or that you might have missed. Before we jump into the list, I just want to say thanks a bunch for over 1,000 subscribers. It means the world to me that there are more of you out there along for the ride with me than there are Pokemon in the national decks. I mean, not that they really use them anymore, but I'm thankful for all of you. I hope that most of you that came from the handheld review videos find these games cool, and all of these games will also run great on handheld. That wasn't intentional, but it just kind of overlaps. With that being said, let's jump right into some games.
Picture a city where technology and science go hand in hand with fun and entertainment.
Starting out with number 10 is American Arcadia. American Arcadia is hard to talk about without spoiling the premise, but let's just say that the 70s aesthetic and utopian daily life you'll start the game in are hiding a mystery that you'll want to unravel or die trying. Half platformer, half first-person puzzle game, and 100% a narrative-driven thought piece that will give you a few laughs, some emotional moments, and some things to talk about. Fun fact, the male protagonist Trevor is voiced by Yuri Lowenthal. Coming in at just under 8 hours to beat and $20, the gripping story and thought-provoking puzzles made me want to take this game to bed every night. Platonically, that is. Coming in at number 9 is an unexpected recommendation, at least if I was to recommend this game to myself even a month ago. Totally Accurate Battle Simulator is a game I always saw on Game Pass but never really gave much thought to. It's not exactly an indie or a hidden gem, coming in as the 23rd game on Steam's top 250, but if you're like me and you hadn't gotten around to this game yet, go try it now. If you've heard of games that you can turn your brain off and play, you may not put a tactics battle sim up in that category, but this one can be. You can be as goofy as you want and try to defeat Zeus with an army of hobbits, or plan carefully on how to position your units and outmatch the opposing army. The amount of levels in this game is astounding. I've played for a handful of hours, and I feel like I've barely made a dent in all this content. And the best thing is that you can play a quick level in under a minute if you're killing time, or play dozens of levels for hours if you're looking for a longer session. Free on Game Pass, $20 on Steam, and often on sale for even less, this game has so much to offer that will have you playing just one more battle. Joining us for the season is Going Under, an indie gem that will always have a place in my heart. This game is a charming roguelike that blends its own take on the recognizable corporate art style and the satisfying punch of a 3D dungeon crawling brawler. Having worked for tech companies most of my career and having many friends in tech as well, it's funny to watch as the Silicon Valley-esque dialogue in between runs resembles much of what actually goes on in the startup offices of overpaid CEOs and overworked interns. Other than the awesome writing, the combat and character progression aspects of the game are what will keep you busy. A variety of office theme and video game theme weapons, creative buffs and abilities, and goals/tasks for your intern evaluations are engaging enough to keep you diving in for your next dungeon run. I love playing this game on the couch, on the plane, or anywhere really. $20 on Steam, but recently just on sale for $5. This game is more than worth its weight in abstract cryptocurrency. Alright, listen, I know we don't love Blizzard lately or microtransactions, but Diablo 4 is not like the Overwatch 2 free-to-play model that sank it. Diablo 4 has a compelling story, a curated world, and tight gameplay that is all so engaging that the premium battle pass and item shop cosmetics can easily be ignored. This is my first Diablo game, so I don't have anything to compare it with really, but the best way I can describe it is the satisfaction of vampire survivors in combat with some open world dungeon crawling that will spoil you with loot. I am a big loot goblin, and I like seeing the stats on my characters go up while also playing dress up and finding all different tiers of loot. So this game scratches more than a few itches in my brain when I'm gaming. And look, maybe I'm just lucky, but the game is generous with the loot sometimes. Like, I got a legendary tier shield at level 5 off of a regular skeleton. Worse games would have you grinding for stuff like that, or even worse, pay real money for some sort of booster or something. There's a big reason that so many first wave Steam Deck owners put the work in to get this game working on deck before it came to Steam. It's a $70 game, which is steep, especially if it has microtransactions and a battle pass, but Xbox did buy Activision Blizzard King, so if enough time has passed and this title is on Game Pass, give it a try on a Windows device. What if I told you that you missed out on one of the best games of 2023 and you didn't even know it? Now what if I told you that it was a SpongeBob game? What? Don't look at me like Battle for Bikini Bottom didn't sell over 2 million copies. The team behind the remake, Purple Lamp Studios, have managed to do something incredible. They've managed to make a SpongeBob game so good that it rivals the cult classic Battle for Bikini Bottom and the nostalgic SpongeBob movie tie-in game. If I had to describe the quality of this game here, it's like if Purple Lamp Studios was Insomniac Games and SpongeBob Cosmic Shake was their Spider-Man PS4. With full movie quality cutscenes and animation, stunning graphics, and so many of the little details that may go widely unnoticed, this is a game made by not only talented developers, but true fans of the SpongeBob media. It's also the only game to have Mr. Krabs voiced by the actual Mr. Krabs voice actor.
Seems like a perfect opportunity to start a documentary about Bikini Bottom's best restaurant.
With much of the familiar gameplay from the classics and some throwbacks to fan favorite episodes, Cosmic Shake is a game made by fans for fans. Unfortunately, this game hasn't had the commercial success of their remake, and I blame that entirely on the marketing. I always say to vote for quality games with your wallet, and this is a sad case where we may have failed to do so. $40 on Steam, but often on sale for around $20. Please pick this up if you like SpongeBob and the other games in this series. Smack in the middle of the list is this short and sweet animated Game Awards winner, Hi-Fi Rush. This Saturday morning cartoon-style game is packed with laughs, pop culture references, and a combat loop that manages to never feel stale or tired. This game is rhythm-based, but won't punish you for being offbeat, unless you're fighting a boss, which is still manageable. But instead, you'll be rewarded for well-timed combos by doing extra damage, and the sick award-winning sound design is a constant character of its own all throughout. It's a game that was just as much a breath of fresh air to the gaming scene as it was to the devs that made it, who also made the terrifying Evil Within. Free on Game Pass, $30 on Steam, and tons of replayability if you're looking to up the difficulty. Go get it. It's awesome.
I wrote a blog post a while ago about why I hate video games, because this is what it does. It appeals to like the male fantasy.
If you've seen the memes of the Yakuza games online, that's just the tip of the iceberg. And it's a massive iceberg. Yes, they do have amazingly wacky side quests and full-fledged minigames, but they're also some of the most over-the-top, action-packed brawlers with these dramatic soap opera-style crime stories that have all sorts of twists and turns that you won't be able to predict. Think of these games as a smaller-scale GTA, but with all of the flair that this game gets by embracing all the things that make Japan a cultural hub. Do some kart racing, run a cabaret club, stock up on items at the Konbini, and fight some other Yakuza before you stop at karaoke on your way to your real estate business run by a chicken that you won from a bowling tournament. Yeah, there are 6 games in the mainline series starring main man Katsuma Kiryu, with spin-off series Judgment and their newer turn-based continuation of Like a Dragon, as well as some one-off games here and there to play as well. But the reason I recommend Yakuza 0 is because, as the name implies, it's a prequel to the series. Yakuza 1 was a
PS2
game, which was recently remade and looks even more beautiful than 0 with their latest engine. But Yakuza 0 came out on PS4 for the first time, so newcomers to the series get the benefit of starting with that added context that this game brings. You'll play as an aforementioned, much younger Katsuma Kiryu, but also his fan favorite frenemy, Goro Majima. There is a lot of game here, and the riveting combat, gripping story, and mountain of content all got me through moving houses in college. For $20 and also free on Game Pass, please try this game series out. A blast from the past, or rather 4 years ago, Doom 2016 and more recently Doom Eternal are awesome games. Doom Eternal single-handedly got me through the first year of the pandemic, and it still hits all of the right spots in my smooth goblin gamer brain. If you want the gaming power fantasy, it doesn't get more powerful and fantastical than fighting hordes of the armies of hell with a literal arsenal of shotguns, explosives, miniguns, and even chainsaws. The levels in Doom Eternal are a bit lengthy sometimes, but they are far from boring or dragged out. Rather, you can get tired from being in back-to-back combat arenas, which the game attempts to pad out with an occasional platforming or navigation section. But no joke, I would have to take breaks from this game, despite wanting to keep playing. One time, I was even about to finish a level, but had to hit the exit to desktop because I was too drained from previous battles for whatever came next. tons of enemy variety, weapon variety, and abilities which you unlock as the game goes on, this revived classic is the best shooter I've ever played. This game was $60 on release, but you can often find it for much less on Steam, and it's also free on Game Pass now that Xbox also bought Bethesda. Cheating a little bit here, but in second place is the Persona series. The reason I'm bundling the whole series together, specifically 3, 4, and 5, is because each game in the series is like a Power Ranger. Fundamentally, they're all doing the same thing, but you can just say, my favorite is a red one. These are Japanese student life sims by day and turn-based RPGs by night. So you can really fulfill your deepest fantasy of going to school on a Saturday, clocking into your cashier job on a Sunday, and defeating literally God before going back to school on Monday. If you've seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, a persona is basically a stand, a fantastical creature with powers for your party members to wield in battle. Each persona has elemental strength and weaknesses, so it's a rock, paper, scissors style of combat, one step up from Pokemon, and like Pokemon, you can collect them all. Spending time with your party members outside of missions helps you to unlock bonuses and level up your own personas, and comes with the added bonus of immersing you further into this life sim, and finding your high school sweetheart along the way. I'm skipping a lot of detail like how you can study for exams and go to batting cages or even do laundry, but this game has over 100 hours of content if you're really up for immersing yourself in these worlds and characters. Fair warning, these games may start slow, but once you get past the tutorials, you'll find a probable top 5 game like I did. Persona 3 is getting a full remake here in February, which is kinda nuts, and it will take a while for 4 to get that same treatment, but either way, the game is good enough where the age can just sort of melt away. Also, Yuri Lowenthal is in this one too, so what are the odds?
Not so fast. You owe me 130 real.
One moment you're running like the wind, then you've suddenly turned around and are giving him the finger, furiously, with both hands. Why?
Watch out!
And coming in at the top of my list is Disco Elysium. Some of you may have the chance to play the best game of all time according to PC Gamer before it gets overtaken by Baldur's Gate 3, but some of you already have. Disco Elysium is in the same CRPG genre as Baldur's Gate 3, but they play very differently. In Disco Elysium, you play a citizen detective in a war-torn fictional town. You wake up after a forgettable night of drinking, so forgettable that your character doesn't even remember who they are or why they woke up in this hotel. There's been a murder, and you have been tasked to solve it. Chances are, you're not a detective in real life, and because of the amnesia, that means that you and your character start off on the exact same page. You'll both learn about the world and the case from talking to people around town, finding evidence, and bouncing every idea in your head off of your detective partner and best boy of all time, Lieutenant Kim Katsuragi. There is no combat in a traditional sense, but almost everything in this game is an encounter of sorts. You can lose physical health from failing a skill check on a jump, or even by sitting in a really uncomfortable chair, or you can lose morale health by getting called fat by a child, which can send you into a heart attack and then the game over screen. You have to be on top of your game to not let the world or its characters get the better of you as you attempt to solve this murder case, which you will find is anything but a simple whodunit. And you will mostly be reading in this game, but with full voice acting and a truly massive amount of content, player choice, and replayability, I can honestly say that this game is magical in a way that had me scouring every corner of the world for more until my completion at the 40-hour mark. This Game Awards sweeper is normally $40, but you can usually find it on sale for $10. And double but, the creators of the game were actually unjustly let go by the studio, and they get no royalties for their masterpiece. So it's recommended to get a key off of a reselling platform, and yes, the creators of this game even endorse sharing the game. Wink wink. Alright, so that's it. That's episode 1 of this series I'm calling GG's, and I hope that you found something you want to try out amongst these 10 gems that I've played myself, or that you can agree with this list if by chance you've already played all of them. If you think there's a game worth checking out, leave it in a comment below, or if you want to share your thoughts on some of these games, then do that down there as well. If you're new here, hit subscribe if I've managed to win you over or showed you a game you might like, and don't forget to like the video if you like Yuri Lowenthal. Alright, thanks for sticking around, thanks for watching. Till the next round of GG's, see ya, and happy gaming.